Can you tell us about how you first meet SIGHT UPN?
It was a funny story. The guy that I was dating, that one guy that I was dating, I guess they met in the bus. And at that moment, he was homeless, so I would let him crash at my house at night. Like I'll sneak him in, have him sleep in my house.
Your boyfriend or SIGHT?
Yeah, that guy that I was dating, the guy that introduced me to Graff. And so he met him on a bus ride. So he didn't have before cell phones, he didn't have a phone. So he gave SIGHT my telephone number, my house number. So SIGHT calls, he hears my voice, so totally forgets that he was calling for my guy friend, my boyfriend. But I think at that time, me and that guy were kind of like broken up. So SIGHT just starts talking to me. We talk, I think, for a few weeks, months before we even like meet. You know, it was just got to know each other and until our first mission.
Had you ever heard of SIGHT before?
Yeah, I would see him going down Florence. I would see him up going down Vermont, Western. So yeah, I would see him up.
Does he know that you're also a writer at that time?
Not like right off the bat. I think at that time I was just tagging. I didn't really have a fulfill. It was just tagging. I was just messing around on paper and just tagging on walls.
How does he bring up the subject of going out to write together?
I wanted to start painting, but I knew it wasn't going to be like, I wasn't going to be like going by myself either, you know. To a certain point I had that guy, but even then he wasn't pushing me to where I needed to go, you know. He would be like tags here and there. I wanted more. And that's when, you know, SIGHT saw that. I know he saw that, and that's when we started painting. When
you go writing with SIGHT, are you just tagging with markers or doing throw-ups, straight letters?
At this point, I knew the moment that I was going to go painting with SIGHT, I had to come up with the fill. So I just started making my tags larger, started coming up with like a 3D, one-sided 3D. So I had something, and you always go, I think the easy one to go with is the straight, just block letters, you know. That's the easiest one. I did that in the beginning.
Does SIGHT give you any tips on how to progress, or do you just learn on your own?
Well, he was like, you know what, look at my letters, you know, like, so that's why my beginning GIZM is kind of mirrors, you know, has somewhat of the SIGHT feel, because, you know, he was a big influence in my Graff.
How long do you go out writing with him? Is it weeks, months, a couple days, a handful of times?
Well, he was the only person that I would go painting with, so we were at least like once a week, but it was a weekly.
Now that you're going out painting with SIGHT, you're learning a couple of things. How does the opportunity of joining UPN come up? Do you mention it to him? Does he mention it to you?
No, I think they're the ones that told me. They were having a talk amongst themselves. They were like, "Oh, she would be good for UPN," like, and they took me to a meeting, and then that's it. It wasn't even. I don't even think it was asked. Like,
Who was in UPN at that time when you're joining? Do you remember?
Everybody that I mentioned before. Again, it was Level, Senile, Chase, User, Dozer, Donor.
Were you the first female to join UPN?
I was the first female.
Are you the only one now to be in UPN?
Am I? Yeah, I think I am.
How do they tell you, hey, you want to join the crew, or how does it come up?
They told me, you know what, write your name on here, and I tagged.
Where is this? Is it?
We went to it was a user's house. We were there.
Who's there?
It was an apartment building, an alley.
Is there a lot of people there?
It was the same. The founders. We were such a close knit family. Like, it's just, we were always there at every meeting. We were the same people. We even me coming in, you know, I was the youngest, I think, there, and the only female. I felt so comfortable. I was around it. User was a 6 foot plus guy, intimidating. But it just, I felt so at home and comfortable. Never felt threatened. Never felt like a piece of meat. You know, it was family. So it was always there. It was the same people that I keep mentioning. They were always there.
Before going to that meeting, are you practicing your name tagging just in case they were to ask you to join the crew? Like, are you waiting for the opportunity to show your skills to them?
I think I did. I think like every girl, you know, we doodle our names. We doodle the guy we like. I used to doodle, you know, like, you know, crews that, you know, you would like want to get into and stuff like that. So UPN was one that I would practice.
So when you're at the meeting and they tell you write your name, what happens?
I write my name.
And what do they say?
They're like, oh, she's dope. She got skills, you know. She has potential. Because at that point, I wasn't too much of a. I think I only had like 2 or 3 spots. Like it wasn't. I was something to grow, you know. And that's what UPN was. You know, we grow. Like we help out at that moment. It was just like that.
Do they take a vote to let you in? Are you
No, I think it was like unanimous. She's in.